Hello, everybody. Hello and welcome to the webinar. Super excited to have you on board. Thank you so much for coming. It's 9 o'clock. Let me just check my mic because I'm using an external mic. So hello, can you hear me? Just let me know if you can hear me. Actually, let Martin know. He's in the comments, so he's going to be able to help you out. Like, I can't see the comments from here, so it's a bit strange. But yeah, super excited to have you all on board. Martin sent me a screenshot. There's like lots of people on the webinar, which is exciting. So what are we talking about today? Today, we're talking about careers. So as you know, the podcast is nearing, if you've heard of the podcast. If you haven't, then I host the Super Data Science podcast, which I started about a year ago in September 2016, and it's nearing about a year. Thanks, guys, for confirming audio. Martin, let me know. So it's nearing a year, and yeah, it's so exciting. It's like nearly 100 episodes and 60 guests. So 16 unique guests have been interviewed. I've talked to 60 different people. Very, very exciting. And yeah, it all started off as like an idea that, you know, there are podcasts out there on data science. There's like, you know, content out there on data science, but what was really missing was a podcast that tells you the stories of the people, how they came to be who they are, how the journeys they went through. And because I always find that very exciting. Data science is such a new field. People are coming from all over the place, and that's exactly what we saw in the podcast, that people are coming from everywhere. And of course, they were sharing their insights from their journey, how to be successful. And that's the goal of the podcast, to help you learn from that and also become as successful as possible, and, you know, find your passion, find your journey. And so what we did today is we've put together all of the insights from all these podcasts. Of course, there's like so much information. It's impossible to share everything. And I was putting the slides together because I'm in Australia, so it's morning. So it's earlier morning, finishing up the slides, and like, there's so much I want to tell you guys, but I'm just going to tell you the most important stuff that really propel your career forward. So today is going to be structured in three parts. I'm going to start the slides just now, but I'll just like let you know how we're going to structure it, and then we'll jump into it. So the first step is we're going to talk about the careers, like the important takeaways from the podcast and from all the guests that I've had, and that'll have its own 3 subsections, and we'll get to that in a second. After that, we'll have a special surprise for you guys with a bonus. So that'll be towards the end of the podcast, and then after that, we'll have a Q&A. So if you guys want to ask any questions, because I know you have some burning questions, I'll be here, and Martin will be helping moderating. He'll be able to help you out. Any questions? We also got Jamie, who's moderating. He's the guy who created all these cool videos. So yeah, reach out to Martin or Jamie to make sure they write down your questions so I can answer it at the end. All right, so let's do this. I'm going to share my screen. If you have any technical issues, just let the guys the moderators know, and they'll help you out. So I'm sharing my screen. The camera doesn't work for some reason when I share my screen, so I'm just going to switch it off just to make sure that we're not using unnecessary bandwidth. And yeah, let's go find the presentation. Okay, here it is. So please let the guys, Martin and Jimmy, know if you can see my screen, and we'll roll from there. Okay. Let me see. I think you can still see my screen. Yeah. Okay. Great. Here we go. Careers in data science. Exciting. Very excited to be bringing this to you. This is, you know, one of my biggest passions is not just data science itself, but actually helping people succeed in data science. All right, so let's have a look. Today's game plan, as we discussed, the structure of today is going to have 3 parts. So first of all, there are 3 parts. First of all, we're going to talk about the careers, the insights. Number 1 is the success formula. So from all the podcasts, from all of the things that like I've learned from the guests, I've derived a success formula, and it's like consistent throughout every single time. It's always the same. It's the same, more or less. And I'm going to share that success formula with you. Then we're going to talk about some myths and tips, some myths that might be preventing you from accomplishing success, achieving success, and some tips that might be helpful for you to propel even faster forward. Then we're going to talk about the future that you are venturing into. I'll tell you a story there. And then after that, we're going to have the special invitation and bonus. So make sure to check out that special invitation. And finally, we're going to have a Q&A. All right, so let's get started. Success formula. So this is probably like the biggest insight that you can get. If you go away from today with this just one thing, I want you to remember this success formula. This is something that's changed like so many careers, so many people I've talked to. And in fact, looking back, after I learned the formula, the success formula, looking back, I can see that I apply the same success formula to get to where I am, to get to, to build my data science career, and then even further after that to keep building, courses and helping people and so on. This is all governed by the success formula. So what is it? Well, let's see if we can derive it together. I'm going to show you just a few quotes. So the team at Super Data Science, I got to give a huge shout out to Mita and the team. They went through all of the podcasts. They were extracting so many quotes and so much information, like pages and pages and pages of quotes. Like to prepare for this session today, there's so much work happens. So thank you for everybody who's involved. But I'm just going to show you a couple of quotes. Okay, so number one, Andy Kriebel. Find what you are passionate about and you'll find a job. Okay, so Andy is the head coach of the data school in the information lab in the UK. And a super successful guy. He's got, I think, he's worked at Facebook. He's worked at lots of famous companies, and he's like a visualization guy. So if you look him up, you'll see that he got like 3 blogs. He's running his data school. He's constantly outputting content every single day, new slide, new videos, and so on. And this is a quote from him. So why I'm telling you his background is I want to show you that this is indeed a person who has accomplished success, and this is what he says. Okay, so Caroline McCall, build your own personal brand through LinkedIn and other social media sites. So Caroline is a recruiter, a headhunter in Sydney, Australia, and she's been in the space of data science for, I think, 7 years, and she's helped dozens and hundreds of people to be placed in the right role. So she definitely knows what she's talking about. Nadie Bremer, I feel like the best way is to be driven by passion, but also to do a lot. So Nadie is a freelance consultant in the space of analytics visualization. So she runs her own business. She runs her own blog. It's called visualcinnamon.com. Check it out if you haven't. It's got some amazing visualizations. Super successful. She used to work at Deloitte as well, just like me. And then after that, she built this huge name for herself, and she's now speaking at conferences. She's invited to events, to podcasts, and so on. And this is what she says. Eugene Locke, when you have a passion for what you do whatever it takes to get you ahead. Excuse me. So Eugene is one of my colleagues or ex-colleagues at Deloitte, and he is a super successful guy. He's running lots of interesting, exciting projects in Deloitte in the space of data science, and he's a multiple times he's won the Kaggle competition. He's a Kaggle Grandmaster, which is a title which you really have to work hard to deserve, and you really have to put in a lot of effort. You have to win a certain number of competitions in teams, certain number of competitions by yourself, and he's just smashed it out in Kaggle. He's earned lots of money also through Kaggle as well. And this is what he says. And here we have Josh Colson. Build a brand for yourself so that you can show people that you are worth the risk. So Josh is a senior manager at LinkedIn. He's in charge for some of the operations in the Asia Pacific region, and he's one of my ex-colleagues at Deloitte. We actually worked together in Brisbane until he moved down to Sydney, and I actually did one project with him, which was really cool. And my first project at Deloitte, I did with Josh. Yeah. So Josh, super successful guy. He's running a show at LinkedIn, running a division at LinkedIn, and he's got data scientists reporting to him. And as you can imagine, he works to help recruiters and companies find people. So he's we're on this side of LinkedIn, he's on the other side of LinkedIn, and he definitely knows what he's talking about, just through where he is and what he does. This is what he said. So as you can see, we've looked at 5 different people out of the 60, and 5 quotes. So do you see a pattern? Do you see like a common pattern that might translate into the success formula? So I'm probably sure you can see it, and let's just make sure we're on the same page, solidify it, and this is how I refined it for myself. Success in data science is passion plus brand. Those are the 2 components that you need for success. Those are the only two things that you need to be successful. And this is it might be counterintuitive because it doesn't include any tools, any R programming, any Python, any skills, any techniques. It just says passion and brand. If you have those 2 things, you will be successful. So how does this work? Let's dig into it. Well, passion, let's start with passion. Passion is very simple. Passion is just doing what you love, right? So it's not doing what you have to do, not doing what you're told to do, not doing what you think you need to do. It's just doing what you love. You have to be doing what you love. Very straightforward. There's no 2 ways about it. It's very, very easy to understand what is passion. If you're doing something you don't love, you're not passionate about it, you're not going to be successful. Or maybe not for a long time. You're not going to achieve the ultimate success that we're talking about here. The success that's not just reputation or position or job. It's actually success involves happiness as well. It's not about just making a lot of money or doing a lot of useful work for other people. It's actually doing, like, being happy and achieving a lot. So that's what success is. So speaking of passion, right, and doing what you love, let's look at this trend. So I took this from Google Trends yesterday. This is like the most freshest Google Trends for the term data science. Have a look at that. Like, you can see how it was like kind of plateauing around 2008, 12, and then started going up. The whole hype, data scientist, the sexiest profession of the 21st century. Article by DJ Patel and Tom Davenport, I think. And so, the hype started going, might have like fallen off the cliff, but it didn't. It started, like, you can see that kink. You can clearly see where the 2 red arrows meet, that there's a kink there. It's not just linear. It was linear between 2012, 2015, maybe 16, but now it's like, boom, going up. So why am I showing you this chart? I love this chart. I personally love Google Trends. It's one of my go-to places for research. So if you don't use Google Trends, you should definitely, for your career, for any other type of research that you're doing, like to see if it's just hype or if something is growing and it's going to keep growing. This is going to keep growing. And so why I'm showing you this chart is because we're talking about passion. We're talking about doing things you love. Well, in data science, we are very lucky. We are very fortunate that we can do the things we love. First of all, data science is very broad. There's lots of different applications and types of data science, from analytics to data mining to visualization to machine learning to artificial intelligence. You name it. You can just keep going forever with the types of data science. So it's very easy to find something you love. Well, the chances that you'll find something you love are very high, extremely high, like 90-something%. You just need to look for it. But then why I'm showing you this chart is because the interest growing and growing, and as long, like, there will be positions and there will be opportunities for you no matter what you do in data science. Even if you think that it is something that is completely doesn't have like a big application, or doesn't, you really love this thing, I don't know, like maybe geospatial analytics for I don't know, for some legal application or something. You really love it, but you don't think that there's a huge application of this, or maybe companies or people don't need it. Well, that's not the case. Data science is growing, it's booming, and the amount of opportunities is growing faster than the amount of qualified and passionate people. And I want to stress here passionate, because anybody can crunch numbers, anybody can learn the basics, and yes, there's a lot of people like that who are looking for jobs. But if you follow the success formula, right? If you are passionate about what you do, then employers will rip you with your hands off. I don't know how it's an idiom from Russian language, but basically they'll do everything to get you on their team. They will like find you, hunt you down. They will want you because you are passionate. There will always be a company who you can help. There'll be many companies who you can help just because the field's growing so fast. And so now let's explore the second word. So passion we've talked about, it's doing what you love. Brand, what is brand? Well, brand is my friends, where you have to put in the hard work, where you have to put in the hours, where you have to actually, commit and do a lot of stuff. So brand involves things like fixing up your LinkedIn profile and making it look amazing, and also doing things on LinkedIn, whether it's writing blog posts or just commenting on blog posts or resharing blog posts, and so on. It also involves blogging, like actually creating a blog and writing blogs. It also involves YouTube. So creating videos about what you've learned in data science, or some recent breakthroughs that you've had that you want to share with the world. Then you just create videos and you put them on YouTube. There's also commenting on Quora and Stack Overflow, where people ask questions, either asking questions there and finding out more for yourself, but also helping others there, helping the community, giving back by answering their questions there, having a profile there, doing Kaggle competitions and trying out and getting better, and better, and actually succeeding in Kaggle and having a profile in Kaggle, having a Tableau public profile. If you're interested in visualization, if you're into that, you need to have a Tableau public profile and just upload all your visualizations. And then networking online, networking with people. Like a lot of the guests that I've met them just online. I've never met them in person, and they've contributed so much to the show and to the data science community just through this networking that we've been through. Networking offline, going to conferences, going to events, going to meetups, and meeting with people, putting yourself out of your comfort zone, coming up to people, asking for their, their background or their help with something, or sharing your ideas with them. All of this is what is required to build your brand. And you obviously don't have to do all of them, but the more of them you do, the better. And this, I know it might sound like an obvious thing, and it might sound like, yes, Kirill, it's pretty obvious that you should build your brand, but a lot of people don't do that. Like, ask yourself, how many points out of these ones do you check? How many of these boxes do you tick? And there's actually way more. There's many, many more other ways you can build your brand. These are some of the just basic ones. And this, why I'm sharing this is like, at this, as we discussed, it's pretty obvious stuff. But the thing is, why I'm stressing this is the pattern that has recurred with guest after guest after guest on the podcast. Recruiters have mentioned it, headhunters have mentioned it. That's how they find people. Successful people like Andy Kriebel, he started with a small blog on Tableau, and he was just like adding content, adding value, and then now I think he's like 7 times Tableau Zen Master. He's been named by Tableau, gives out this title of Zen Master just because he's given so much value back to the community, and that's how Facebook also found him, and they headhunted him. They were just they just called him up and interviewed him out of the blue just because of his online presence. You need to build your brand, and like we stress this a lot on the podcast, but I don't think enough people do that. So those are the 2 things that you require. And the beauty, this is what I want to mention. I was thinking, what do I want to mention? I wanted to tell you guys that the beauty is, if you've tried to build your brand, right? Let's say you've tried to blog or you've tried to YouTube, and then you it kind of slipped away. You didn't have enough time. You kind of started doing it. You were doing it frequently the first 2 weeks, and then you started doing less and less and less, and then you just forgot about it. Well, guess what? That just means you weren't passionate about it. If you're passionate about what you're doing, then when you're doing what you love, then all of these things on the right will come very naturally. It will come very easily. You will want to share these things with the world. You will want to, like when I was learning, some techniques or tools, and I was really passionate about them, I wanted to create a course. I wanted to put some YouTube videos out there. I wanted to write a blog post. When I learned something new, about the difference between 2 tools or something, I just wanted to share that with the world. It becomes so easy and natural. So if you find that you're having trouble there, that you're struggling, it means you're just not passionate about what you're doing. And go back to step 1, find what you're passionate about, then proceed to doing these steps about building your brand, and you'll find that it's very easy. All right, so that's the success formula. Hope that was useful. Now let's move on to the next part, myths and tips. And you kind of always think about the success formula, this one, while we're going through the myths and tips. And through the other parts, the whole of this webinar, and of course after you leave this webinar, just keep thinking about the success formula, because it will intertwine with the things we discussed and the things that you're going to be, like going to be popping up in your memory afterwards. So myths and tips. Myths are things that stop you from going forward very fast. The myths we're gonna destroy. We're gonna blow out of the water 7 myths, and then I'll give you 7 tips, which come from our guests. Now we're going to talk about the myths. Myths are going to be very handy for those who are just starting out. Just give me a second. Martin wrote me something. Okay, yeah. So like some of you in the chat are asking about how you can take a step ahead and get more with building a brand. We'll get to that. Don't worry. We haven't finished with Success Formula. All of this will intertwine. So myths and tips. And myths are going to be very helpful for those who are just starting out, who are like still building a career. But tips are going to be helpful for those who are starting out and for those who already consider them as successful data scientists, because they'll help you propel even faster forward. So let's go. And by the way, keep your questions. If I don't answer something along the way, just ask the questions at the end and we have a Q&A. That's what we have the Q&A for. Myth number 1, who am I to do data science? I'm not an expert. Okay, so this is a major myth. People think that data science is some sort of profession that's been around for ages, like kind of like accounting. To do accounting, you need to be an expert. You need to learn. There's a long learning curve. Or to be a lawyer, you need to be an expert. To be a data scientist, you just need to be really outstanding, really fascinating, really creative. There's lots of skills that you can develop as long as you have one quality that is super hyper developed, something that you can give to the company that's going to give a lot of value. So like at the end of the day, it's about value. You don't have to be an expert. They don't hire you because they need a chartered professional accountant or a authorized, like, what are they called, a lawyer, like a lawyer who's passed their exam to sign off on a report. No, they want your creativity. They want your skills. They want your intellect. They want your the way you think. They want that. That's what you have to bring. And you definitely don't have to be an expert to be a data scientist. Myth number 2, I need X number of years of experience to apply for the job I really want. One of my favorite myths. This is a chicken and the egg problem. Data science job descriptions often say 6 years of data science experience, or 8 years of data science experience, or even 12 years of data science experience. Very, very hard to imagine that, given that this field of data science has only been around for like 10 years or so. It's such a new field. When they write these job descriptions, they're just not used to writing a job description for something that new, and that's why they plug in, their optimal unicorn that they're looking for. I completely disregard that. If it says 6 years of experience, I really don't care about that. I'll tell you a story. When I applied for my position at SunSuper after Deloitte, their job description said you have to have 6 years of experience. I had 4 years of experience. 2 of them were at Deloitte, and 2 of them prior to Deloitte, which weren't technically labeled as data scientists. They were in the space of using data and analyzing data. So I only had 4 years of experience at most. I still went and I still talked to the recruiter, showed him that I have the skills that are required, told him I can do the job and probably do the job better than most of the other people that he's talked to. I went to the interview, I smashed the interview, I got the job. I had 4 out of 6 years of experience. That's 60%. So like 66% of the experience that they require, and I still got the job, and I did an amazing job for them, built out a whole data science division. So this is not something that should be preventing you from applying for the jobs you really want. What they're looking for is your experience, and you need to just show them that you have. And that's where the whole brand comes in. If you have a brand, it's very easy to show what you can do. Myth number 3, employers don't care about my online learning. I need a degree. A lot of, as you know, I'm in the space of the whole super data science, in the space of online education, and we teach people about data science and how to be successful and how to teach the tools of data science. And a lot of time we hear, so, okay, cool, so I learned, R or Python, or learned about data science, but now I'm going to go do a master's degree in data science just so I have that paper so I can get a job. Well, that's very 20th century thinking. It's like a 21st century, 20th, yeah, it's very 20th century thinking. We don't live in a world where education is that valuable anymore. Education is hyperinflated. Like where you needed a master's degree, a bachelor degree 10 years ago, you need a master's. Where you need a PhD, when you need a master's, you need a PhD now. There are companies in the US who won't hire a person as an assistant, like a legal company, for instance, like a law firm, won't hire an assistant unless they have a bachelor's degree in law. How ridiculous is that? Why do you need a bachelor's degree in law to be like a clerk or a person who's just doing the paperwork, who's sitting at the reception? Why do you need a law degree? Just because education is hyperinflated. Those companies that look at these papers, within 5 or 10 years, they're either going to change or they're going to disappear, because that's very old school thinking. There's a statistic that out of the Fortune 500 companies, out of the 500 of them, in the past 65 years, 88% of them disappeared. Well, that's natural. That's normal. Normal cycle of business. It was like, I think, I think it was like more than a 15-year cycle, something like that. But basically, that's the natural course of things. But given the rate of technology and how things are advancing, including education, companies in the next 10 years, 60% of the current Fortune 500 companies are going to disappear. Not in 60, not in 50, not in 40 years. In the next 10, 60% of those companies are going to disappear. And so you can be rest assured that the companies that are demanding that you have a degree, they're not going to be there in a while. So you need to be looking for companies that are not demanding a degree, companies that really value what matters, and that's your skills and what value you can bring. Myth number 4: I don't have the time. That's the oldest excuse in the world. You don't have the time. Is just everybody has 24 hours in a day. Nobody has not enough time. It's a matter of priorities. It's just the correct answer to the question, like why aren't you building a brand for yourself, is not I don't have enough time, is it's not my priority. You have other priorities in life, and that's fair enough. That's great. But until you make becoming successful a priority, you're not going to be successful. And I'll give you an example, a very great example, which I love. Andy Kirill, who we've talked about, the head coach at data school, he's got kids, he's got a family, he runs a data school, and yet every single day, or almost every day, he publishes a new video. And this has been happening for years now. He publishes a new video about Tableau, one on this blog, one on that blog, one about this, one about that, like a couple of videos per week. I think it's like three or 5 videos per week he publishes. And he rides his bicycle to work. He wakes up at 5 a.m. He does all of the videos. Then he rides his bike to work. He's at work before everybody else. He gets his work done. He's at home. And in the evening, he doesn't work anymore. He's with his family. It's a matter of priorities and a matter of dedication and commitment. Myth number 5: I need a background in maths or programming. It's very similar to the situation with the degree that you actually don't. All right, a little bit different. It's the thing with maths and programming is it's great if you have a technical background, but through my interviews on the podcast, I've met so many guests who are completely out of different fields. People coming from a literature background, historian background, an arts background, any kind of background. It's such a new field that you can always find what you can leverage from your existing background. And the other side of things is that it's such a broad field, you don't have to go into the technicals, you don't have to go into the maths or the programming necessarily. There's so many other ways you can add value as a data scientist and find the tools that are the right fit for you. Definitely, it's not compulsory to have a massive programming background. In fact, sometimes you'll be at an advantage by not having those backgrounds. Myth number 6: data science is going to be hard, confusing. Some of data science can be hard, confusing, like the artificial intelligence formulas and mathematics, or some of the deep learning concepts. But it only has to be as confusing as you want it to be confusing. Like if you look at our courses, for instance, there are things like artificial intelligence, which deep learning, machine learning, R programming, whatever. There's always a way to approach a subject without getting confused or without having to go into that level of technicality that is going to make you confused. First of all, you can pick the right subjects. For instance, data visualization is not confusing at all. You download Tableau, install it, drag and drop. Within half an hour, you can be running Tableau, and you can be building your brand as a Tableau ambassador, a Tableau analyst, Tableau consultant. Not confusing at all. There's parts of data science, huge parts, areas of data science which are not confusing. But even the ones that are confusing, you can find approaches to them which are not going to get so technical that you'll get confused, and yet you will learn to work with them. So my favorite analogy here is a car, right? So is a car confusing? Probably not confusing, but why is it not confusing? If you look under the hood, there's like an engine, there's some chassis, there's this and that. Like, I don't know how to pull a car apart. I don't know how it works. I don't even I don't even know how a gearbox properly works. And yet I can drive a car. I can get from A to B. And there's probably lots of you in the audience who do know how to pull a car apart, but there's also probably a majority who have never pulled a car apart to completely its bits. Like, and yet you use it. Same thing with data science. There's lots of tools that you can learn how to use and get from A to B with, with knowing the intuition behind them, with knowing, like, the intuition is like being able to press the gas and the brakes, the pedals, and the turning steering wheel in the car. You kind of know what's happening. You know what happens when you put the petrol in, but you don't know the details, and that's okay. And you still bring value to your life, and you'll live your whole life without knowing what's happening in the car, and you'll be fine. Same thing in data science. It's about just thinking outside the box. Myth number 7, you need to work for 10 plus years to build a successful career. A huge myth. I was, I think, susceptible to this myth myself. But like through my own career, I kind of went through it pretty quickly. But also through the podcast guests, like, for instance, I'll give you 2 names. Nick Cepeda, he came from the army where he was doing like data warehousing or something. Or like army warehousing, something very basic. I hope Nick doesn't mind me saying this. But then within 2 or 3 years, he's learned pretty much everything you can think about data science: Hadoop, SAS, R, I think it's Python as well, visualization tools, Click. It's like he's learned so many tools, and then he's like got some jobs, and now he's an intern as like a data analyst, consultant, science intern at Disney. A job that's very hard to get, and he got it. And it only took him a couple of years while he was doing what he loves, while he was enjoying himself. Another name, Emanuele Carbone. He's been on the podcast, but the podcast hasn't been published. It's coming out in a couple of weeks. This person has built his own consulting business in data science. He's helping one of the biggest football clubs in Europe analyze their data, a restaurant and some other company, some forensics analytics jobs. And he started into data science, wait for it, 1 year ago. When I heard that, my jaw dropped. This guy's 23 years old. He started into data science 1 year ago. And all he does, and we'll talk about this more later, he does something very simple. I'll tell you, this is the story I'm going to tell you later on. So, but anyway, it is possible to be successful very quickly. Tips. Okay, so hopefully we got through the myths. If you have questions, make sure to write them down. Martin and Jamie will bring them up again at the end. Okay, tips. These are the things that will propel you forward even faster. All right, let's do this. Tip number 1, build your brand. Build your own brand. We've already said that in the success formula, passion plus brand. It's so important that I put it here just to remind you, you have to build your own brand. Be an educator. So you need to educate other people. It's the best way of learning. It's so valuable for everybody, right? So people are going to get value because you're going to help them learn, whether it's through YouTube, through your blog, through guest posts, through Twitter, through whatever. People are going to get value because you're helping them learn. You're going to get value because you're learning even better yourself. You're getting value again because you're creating a documented trail of the things that you've learned, and you can always go back and learn it. Like not half the reason, but like an important part of why I create courses is because then I can come back and I can relearn the things. So many times I've taken my own courses because I forgot something, how to do something. I just look at my own course and then I remember it. And so that's another point of value. If you create content, you'll be able to relearn yourself and you will remember that you knew it. Another huge value is that for you, again, is that you're building your brand by being an educator, by think about how companies will look at this. They will look at your profile or brand and they'll say, well, if he can teach this stuff, he definitely can do this stuff. And not only he can do this stuff, but he wouldn't be teaching it if he wasn't passionate about it. And we want a passionate guy or girl. And that's the perception they're going to have. So it's a win-win for everybody and also win for the company as well, because they get you on board as the expert, or don't even have to be an expert, as a passionate person about this topic. Tip 3, never stop growing. There's a saying, if you're not growing, you're dying, or if you're not learning, you're dying. Basically, never stop growing. Learn new things, grow professionally, grow personally. This is the key. And always, like, even the opportunities that you apply for, that you select, make sure you select the right opportunities for yourself, whether it's projects at your existing job, whether it's jobs that you're applying for, whether it's learning opportunities, whether it's conference opportunities, anything. Just think about how you're going to grow. You know, it might be a great job with a great salary, it might double your salary, but if it's a dead-end job, or you're going to get pigeonholed into doing some basic, I don't know, business intelligence task where there's no variety at all, like not that all business intelligence has no variety, but like it might be a specific type of business challenge with no variety, and you might get pigeonholed into that. Well, what's the point? You're going to get bored, and ultimately, you know, you only have one life. It's not about the money. It's not about the status. It's about growing. I personally believe that's the most important thing in life. You have to grow all the time. Be a communicator. So this refers to something that I've found for myself very important, and I've discussed with a couple of guests on the podcast, that the most valuable data scientists, the most powerful data scientists in the world, are the ones that connect the insights to the people, to the business decision makers. So it's all well and great to take data and crunch the numbers and come up with the insights and build a fantastic model, an amazing, data mining methodology, and get some insights that nobody has ever seen before in your company. But if you cannot explain them, then the first thing happens is they're useless, right? So insights without people knowing about them or without taking action on them are completely useless. And two, if they do need to be explained, somebody else is going to come along and explain them. And then you've done an amazing job, but now you can't convey the insight, so you're kind of stuck as the number cruncher, and somebody else is going to be explaining. And guess what? There can be lots of number crunchers. There can be lots of people who can derive those insights. That's not a hard thing to learn. You just sit down and you just learn how to do it. And yes, you need to be creative, but there's again, there can be lots of people who are creative in different ways. The hardest part in data science is actually explaining the insights in a simple manner, making the complex simple, as we say at Super Data Science. You can see there in our logo in the bottom right, making the complex simple. So that's the hardest part, and you need to excel at that. That's something that you really need to focus. And I was with who was this? Uri Sir. She's been on the podcast. She's a recruiter headhunter in the US. The episode isn't out yet. Look out for that episode. It's a really fun episode. Well, she said that, I think it was her. Yeah, it was her. She said that data scientists who can actually connect, who can communicate the insights, they get an average of like 20 to 30% higher salaries than people who don't. It was either Uri Sir or Caroline McCall, one of them. I don't exactly remember which one. I think it was Uri. But she said that data scientists who can communicate the insights, who are communicators, get salaries about 20 to 30% higher than those who cannot. Your skills are highly transferable. Just remember that data science is not like law. If you learn how to do, let's say, legal contracts in Brisbane, Australia, you cannot go to the US and do legal contracts in the US. Completely different legal system. You can't even go to Sydney and do legal contracts there. It's a different state. It'll take you time to relearn. Data science is data science. You can do them in one country, another country. You can do them even in one industry and another industry. And you can be working in, I don't know, like the health industry one day. You can go to the education industry the next day. You can be consulting for I know, some kind of mining client or car manufacturing plant the next day. So very highly transferable skills. Remember that. So don't think that you're tied down to the industry or location where you are. Network. Very important to network. We already mentioned that as part of building your brand. You need to attend events, get out of your comfort zone. I know it's hard to force yourself, but it's so worth it. You meet so many people. Like when I went to a conference in May, I met so many different people. I met so many of them to the podcast. I learned a lot of things. It's very, very valuable. And it doesn't have to be offline. It can also be online. Network. Connect Connect with our guests on the Super Data Science podcast. Don't just connect with them, talk to them. Try to, maybe there's something relevant. Don't of course just send random stuff, but if it's relevant, then remember to connect. And tip number 7, focus on your strengths, ignore your weaknesses. My favorite tip. This tip I personally heard when I joined Deloitte. There was like a offsite where for a week, I think, or for a couple of days, we flew down to, I think it was Melbourne, and we met like a lot of other people like who just started. We were graduates, and we met the chief executive officer, CEO of Deloitte at the time, Guillaume Swigers. Really interesting man, really like fascinating story, fascinating career he's had. And one of the biggest things I remember like ingrained into my head towards the end of the 2 or 3 days, he said, which was so contradictory at the time, focus on your strengths, ignore your weaknesses. Because you always hear like, find out what you're good at and keep doing that, find out what you're bad at and improve those things. Well, the most successful people in the world, if you look around, not just data science, most successful people in the world, they're usually very good at 1 or 2 things. And they're good. There's other things that they're good at, but there's other things that they're very bad at, and they don't care about it. They just excel at this one particular thing, and they keep doing that. And then they put the right people around them to help them with the things that they are not excelling at. And the same thing goes for data science. Like if you're very good at, I don't know, visualization, and you really hate programming and you don't want to do programming, well, nobody's saying that you have to improve that. That's a weakness, but who cares? Get very good, get even better, become the best at visualization. Who do you think an employer would rather hire? Somebody who's very good at visualization and good or very good at programming, or somebody who's the best at visualization and really sucks at programming? Well, I think the answer is pretty obvious there. So remember this, it doesn't mean you cannot learn new things. Of course you can learn new things. Of course you should go out there and, like for instance, hone in your presentation skills or do this or do that and experiment. But always identify what you're very good at. And if you find that you're very bad at something, don't worry about it, don't stress about it. That's okay. Just keep doing what you're good at and pushing that ahead. And of course, learning other things. Maybe you'll find something else that you're gonna enjoy a lot and be good at. Okay, there we go, 7 tips. Future. So let's go to the future. This is gonna be a quick one. So future. I just wanted to share with you the quant crunch. So some insights from here. So we can talk about future, and I always ask the guests, what is the most important, where do you think the future is going? What should our listeners prepare for to be ready for the future? And they all give answers, like some say machine learning, some say artificial intelligence, some say that automation is going to come. There's lots of things that are happening, and you can go in different areas. But what I wanted to share with you from this quant, and the quant crunch actually talks about, it's a recent report by Burning Glass Technologies and IBM, and it talks about where the future is going, and it's interesting read if you want to check it out. I just want to share 2 stats with you. Supply, demand. So this is how I like to think about data science. Supply. By 2020, the number of jobs for all US data professionals will be 2,720,000 jobs. Right now, the population of the US is about 3.7 million or like 3.5 million. By 2020, let's say, assume it'll be about even 5 million. That means that these jobs are going to comprise approximately 0.5% of the whole of the US population. That's a huge number. The number of jobs in data science is just gonna keep growing. Demand. So data science and analytics jobs remain open an average of 45 days, which is 5 days longer than the market average. And this is what we were talking at the start, that the field is growing so quickly that there are so many jobs and the supply is not, like supply is growing, but it's not growing as fast enough as the jobs. So actually, I think I put them the wrong way around, right? So the one with the 2,720 million jobs, that's 2,720,000. That's a demand. Oops, that's a demand. So that's how many jobs there will be. But the supply, so the 45 days, that's a supply. So there's not enough supply. The jobs are left open for longer than the average job, which is 40 days. So if you think about it, 40 versus 45 is not much, but it's actually more than 10% longer. And so that means the supply is not meeting the demand. There's always going to be opportunities. And so it doesn't matter where like everybody tells you that you have to learn AI or machine learning, whatever. Just learn, do the thing that you love. And so this is called the golden age of data science, a term we came up with Emmanuel Carbone on the podcast. And so that's exactly what he's done. So I'm just gonna, because we're running out of time, I'm gonna skip through. This is about a road trip that Adlan and I did. Basically, we met Emanuele, the guy in the middle. What he did is he does very simple. This is the guy that has built a super successful consulting career in data science in 1 year. So he just takes Excel and Tableau, very two basic tools, no machine learning, no R programming, no none of that extreme stuff. Just make Excel and Tableau, puts them together, and goes and adds value to clients. And he says, like, I'll do this project for you for free. If you like the results, you can pay me. If you don't, you don't. And through that way, he's now working with the biggest football, one of the biggest football analytics companies in the in Europe. He's helping a restaurant. He's working for a restaurant. He's helping with some forensics project. He's built all of that in a year. And so what that stands to say is that there's always a lot of demand for whatever skills you bring to the table, whether it's just Excel or it's Tableau or it's R programming and some Python machine learning. Doesn't matter. As long as you're passionate about it and you're good at what you do, there's always room for you to take these skills to and help companies. So that's kind of like the future. I just wanted to say, instead of telling you that you need to focus on machine learning or you need to focus on Tableau or whatever, I wanted to tell you that the future is amazing. It's the golden age of data science. It's not going to last for long, though. It's not going to last for 10 years from now. So many people are going to be in data science that you won't get away with these simple skills. You will need to do machine learning. You will need to do AI in 10 years from now. But right now, it's very easy to get on this train, on this wave of analytics, of wave of opportunity, and grow and build a name, build a brand for yourself in the tools that you love, in the techniques, in whatever you're doing what you love. And then, when that golden age is over, you're going to be at the top already. You're going to, you're going to be learning the more advanced stuff, or you might be running a company, or you might be managing a team or whatever. So right now is the time to build a brand for yourself through the things you love. That's the future that we're headed into. Okay, so we're running 47 minutes. Okay, so we've talked about those three things. Now let's talk about the special bonus. Okay, I hope you're excited for this. Special bonus. Yeah, a few months ago, Adlan and I went to a conference. And Adlan is my business partner, if you haven't met him before. And we have some courses together on AI, deep learning, machine learning. And we went to a conference. It was a lovely conference. We met a lot of people. We actually presented at the conference. We learned a few things. But also, we noticed a huge gap. We noticed a huge, something was missing. There was a lot of people, there's thousands of people at the conference, but there's a lot of people who came there, especially people who came to our session because it's called, it's like a machine learning for beginners or something like that. And a lot of people who came there were looking for things that weren't at the conference. They're looking for how to get into the space of data science rather than how to learn the technical stuff. A lot of the data science conferences are great, but they mostly teach you how to do the data science technical things. And people, and you might find this true for yourself, people need not only that, people need inspiration, people need examples, people need motivation, people need a path, people need a clear clarity on how to get to that bright future ahead and confirmation that the future is going to be bright and what steps need to be taken. And that's why we decided to change things. We are running our very own conference this year. It's called Data Science Go. You may have heard some emails or some information floating around here and there. Well, I'm here to tell you about it today, that it's happening in San Diego, 10, 11, 12 November. And this, we've been kind of advertising it for a few months now. And so we're slowly filling up the seats. We're only inviting 200 people for this first one because it's our very first conference. We want to make it epic, and we want to, and therefore it has to be manageable. And the special bonus today is that because you're attending this webinar, by the way, the price for the conference is increasing today, so it's at $129 for the ticket. It's increasing to $199 at midnight time in New York. And the special bonus is if you join the conference today, because you're attending this webinar, because you made the effort to come here, to that you're passionate about your career. Like it shows that you want to be successful. If you join the conference today before midnight New York time, so before the price increases, then we will give you the recordings of the conference for free afterwards. The conference, we're inviting a professional camera crew to record the sessions at the conference, and we're going to be providing those as a product after the conference is over, so people can buy them, and they're going to cost around $100. And if you join the conference today, then you will get these recordings for free included in your conference. So let's have a look. I'm going to show you the conference webinar, the page. Where is it? There we go. So this is our conference page. I'm going to walk you through this, and you can decide for yourself if it's the right thing for you to go to. So data science, data is power. This direction makes you unstoppable. November 10, 11, 12 in San Diego. Are you ready? Revolution. So reasons to attend, life-changing lessons, career tipping point, brand new approach. And so you see 3 hours until price increases. And so here are our speakers. This is what I wanted to show you. Of course, like Adlan and I are going to be speaking. And then let's have a look at who's coming. So we've got Ben Taylor, who is the I think he's the chief data officer or chief data scientist. There we go, chief data officer at Ziff. It's a company on deep learning. Then we've got Dan Schiebel. It's like really, really influential guy. Like if you haven't read an article by Ben Taylor yet on LinkedIn, you're missing out. He's got my favorite article by him. He's got like a couple dozen of them. But my favorite article is Data Scientist Type E. It really changed my life. I read it while I was still at SunSuper, and I looked at it and I was like, whoa, this is so cool. And it's got like thousands of views. Very influential guy, one of the thought leaders in the space of data science and deep learning. Check him out on LinkedIn if you're not connected yet. Dan Schiebler, he was a data scientist at TrueMotion. Now he's at data science at Twitter Cortex. He's going to be talking about real life applications of data science. So Ben Taylor is going to be talking about, if you click on them, you get what they're talking about. So the background and then what he's talking about. So Ben Taylor is going to be talking about how to be, and their speeches will help you understand how this conference is different to all other conferences. Ben Taylor is going to be talking about how to be in the top 5% of data scientists in the world. And he's going to give you the tips and why some data scientists, like most data scientists, never get job offers, and some data scientists get job offers for 200,000 plus US dollars per year. Dan Schiebel is going to give us real life applications of applications of machine learning and data science in the real world to see what you can actually do with the skills you have. Nikhil Sepeda is one of the people I already mentioned. He's going to tell us about his journey, how when he took his career from nothing, from not being in data science, to now having an advanced analytics and optimization internship at Disney, and how he learned all those tools and what his journey was. So this is a success story. Andy Kriebel, we're flying Andy Kriebel all the way from the UK. Like we literally asked him to come. Can you just come to San Diego for this one conference, please? We will, get your flights. Just come and tell us about, like how to be successful, what it means for you, how you achieve, what your story is. Tell us, give us the biggest tips and hacks and tricks. So he's coming all the way from the UK. Maya Ternikarska is a motivational speaker and spiritual psychiatrist. She's going to be talking about how to follow what you feel, follow your heart, how to do the things exactly what you love, how to create an environment for yourself where you're going to be able to accomplish the things that you love, and not have to do things that you hate. Camila Villegas is coming from Colombia. So Maya is coming from Europe. She's coming from Slovenia. From Macedonia. Camila is coming from Colombia. She's going to be revealing a very special surprise from Super Data Science. We're creating something epic that's going to be very helpful in the part of networking. Richard Hopkins is my mentor. We've asked him to come all the way from Sydney, Australia. He's flying in just to talk about mentorship, careers, how to be successful, how to find, remember we talked about focus on your strengths, ignore your weaknesses. Richard's going to be talking about that, how to find the things you're good at and focus on them. Bo Walker is a friend of Ben Taylor. He's also been on the podcast, and he's going to be talking about his journey in data science and how he uses data science in some different applications to Dan Schiebler. So another way you'll see how you can use data science. Michael Sigala is has also been on a podcast. He's a CEO of SFL Scientific, a data science consulting firm, and he's going to share some of their success stories, some of the projects that they've done, so you can see what kind of work you can get into in data science. Plus, he's going to share what he thinks is the most important thing for success. And more coming soon. We're going to have a keynote speaker who we're inviting, and then we're going to have more speakers who are not here. So we're going to have Uri Sir as well. She's coming. She's a recruiter, so we're going to have a recruiter here as well. And here's the agenda. So let's go through this. Friday, we got pre-registration, welcome reception. Saturday, we got registration, opening, and then 8:15. I'm doing a talk. Then we're doing. Then Ben Taylor is going to talk about his Rockstar Data Scientist Top 5%. Bo Walker, Why Data Scientist Needs You. Mike Sigala is going to do data science consulting. Then we've got our keynote speaker. We're inviting Kylie Sees. He's going to be talking about how to transform your career. You might have seen Kylie Sees in other presentations and performances. Network. Then we got a lunch for networking, so you can meet everybody, connect with everybody, and be on the build that brand of for yourself, and see how you can help other people, how other people can help you. Nick Cepeda, Camilla, Dan Shibla, Andy Kriebel is talking on Saturday. I'm wrapping up day one. Then we got another networking opportunity. And then on Sunday, we've got Adlan presenting how to think outside the box. Very interesting story that he's told me about how he managed to go from not from average to being one of the top in everything that he does. Richard Hopkins, Uri Sir. We've got a discussion panel, so we're going to be talking about answering your questions, so you can bring your questions. We've got a whole hour where you can ask the questions, and we're going to have a recruiter, a expert from deep learning, and Adlan answering questions on data science careers, networking lunch, and then Maya is going to be finishing off, and then we're going to be closing. So as you can see, it's a data science conference, but it's focused on success. What's the point of learning all the tools if you're not going to have a successful career? There will be, so we have a question that there won't be much tech stuff. There will be tech stuff. So the tech stuff will be Bo Walker will be sharing some tech stuff. Mike Segal will be sharing some tech stuff, and Dan Shibler is going to be sharing some tech stuff. So it's a mix. So Martin sent me a question that somebody was asking. Who was asking? Matthews Ribeiro. This is for you, Matthews. This conference is a mix. So if you want a conference purely on tech stuff, this is not the right one. This is a conference to inspire you to have a better, fulfilling, more successful career and life. Okay, I'll get to the questions in a second. Let me just show you before I put the video back on. So pricing, we've already sold out of the early birds. We're on enthusiasts, ending today, 29th September. In fact, 3 hours and 43 seconds to go. It doesn't say this anywhere here, but this is only for this webinar. If you sign up today before this 3 hours is over, 3 hours and 34 seconds, then we will add all of the recordings for free. So you will for that, and then after the conference is over, you'll be able to keep these recordings, and you'll be able to reference them. You'll be able to show them to your friends. You'll be able to get inspired. Even the things that you've forgotten from the conference, you'll be able to relearn them, and you won't have to pay an additional cent for that. That is going to be included in your purchase today. So there we go. 3 hours are left to get this. Okay, so let's put the video back on, and I'll answer some questions. Okay, there we go. Video. Hey guys, I'm back. What's going on with my shirt? All right, let me see, because I can't see the questions. Martin sent it on my phone. Let me have a look. So I've got, I'm convinced by Pile, sorry if I'm pronouncing this wrong, said, Martin, by the way, can you paste the questions right into Slack? Because you send me a Word document. I'll open it up just now, but then the new one, just paste it into Slack, please. So Baibhav says that he's convinced to make a career in data science. I'm a business analyst in investment banking, over-the-counter collateral technology. What other important courses I can do to get boost in career of data science? So you need to, I think, Baibhav, I think what you need to do is you need to apply the success formula. And this goes for everybody. That if you want to be a data scientist, You don't need to just take like a course. Like we have a lot of courses, and if you go to, by the way, if you go to like superdatascience.com/courses-map, and then or course-map, you'll see the map of our courses. There's lots of things that you can actually learn, but you need to find out what you're passionate about, what you are going to love doing. So you need to try a lot of things and then take a course on that. That would be my best advice here. All right, so who's next? Dryden, guys, do you think it's worth it to get a degree in computer science? I think we just talked about that. Degrees, in my personal opinion, degrees are not that important. You can learn all the stuff online. You can learn the stuff, or if you really want to do a degree because you want to do friends or something, you can. But it's not compulsory. Again, experience or value and passion are going to be always more valued or more considered high esteem than the degree. The degree is like a filter for employers. It's like they see that you have a degree, so they assume that statistically you're more likely to have the right skill. But we all know the bell curve. You don't have that's what they're doing. You can be here in the outliers and not have a degree. You just need to show them that. Build a brand for yourself. Much more important. Matheus Maia. Okay, hello, I'm a Brazilian geophysics undergraduate who will finish my bachelor's degree. I think to do a master's degree in statistics. What do you think? Or it's just good to be learned by myself? I think we just answered that question, Matheus. Pavan Pathak, Martin, thanks for formatting the questions. Pavan Pathak, question. Hi, Kirill and team. I am doing a lot of self-learning on machine learning concepts. How can we get someone to mentor? Do you know of any communities where I can find someone? I'm not sure if you can make it to the conference. You will definitely find people at the conference who will mentor you. That's how we're building it. We're not just inviting technical people, we're inviting people who are inspiring, who you can connect with, who can mentor. You can mentor someone, they can mentor you. And maybe you're far away, but just having said that, we have a student who I know who was really funny. Like, he missed us on the road show when we were in Europe. It was in Prague, in Czech Republic. He missed us, and so he bought a ticket to the conference. He's flying all the way from Prague to this conference just to attend Data Science Go. And so like wherever you are in the world, you could, like given that example, you could come. You don't have to be in the US. If you cannot attend, how to network, how to find mentors. You just need to, like, my personal opinion is that you need to go to places. Like, networking online can work, but the best thing is meetups, and best thing is like finding maybe a conference near you or something like that, and like meeting people in person, or like just maybe on LinkedIn you can search for people who are in the same area. But at the conference, we're going to be announcing something very big during Camilla's presentation, and that's going to be helpful for this. But I'm not going to spill the beans yet. Okay, Xiaonan Goy. I'm so sorry if I pronounce it wrong. I do not know how a math major or student to. I do not know how a math major student to be a data scientist. I didn't understand. Maybe you can retype the question. Sayed Arshad, is there a link for slides PDF? There for the slides for this presentation? Is that what you mean? No, there's no link, but this is going to be available on YouTube most likely, so you can just rewatch it. I think that should be. I should answer your question. Min Kati, is it necessary to develop AI expertise to become data scientist, or ML is sufficient to start? I think we answered that through the presentation. None of those are compulsory. You can be a data scientist just by doing visualization. Or like Emanuele Carbone, he just does visualization plus Excel. Or Nadeem Bremer does visualization. Andy Kriebel just does visualization. There's people who do machine learning. There are people who do just R programming. There are people who do SQL. Like Nick Cepeda, he started, I think, with a lot of SQL training. So none of those are required. It's up to you. Again, I think you're missing the point of the success formula. Remember, you need to find what you love and then do that, not the other way around. Not do something and then try love it. Find out what you love. Try a few things. Yogesh Bansal, what to choose, Python or R? Good question. I call it the $1 million question on the podcast. I used to call it the $1 million question. It depends. Like R is great for statistics. R is great for like medical research, and R is great. I like R because it has R Studio. It's very nice and ergonomic. It's very, like, I don't know, user friendly. I like the whole user experience in R. So if that's what you're after, then R is good. Python, just comparing two side by side without any personal preferences, Python wins, because Python opens up the world to machine learning, to artificial intelligence, deep learning, something that is impossible, very hard to do in R, and at some point it gets impossible. So Python is the tool to go to if you want to continue into that space. Akash Singh, I am not good in coding. Am I suitable for data science? Yes, we had one of those questions. There we go, everybody. This is a myth. This is an example of somebody falling victim to a myth. So Akash, you don't have to be good at coding. We just discussed that you can build a career in data science. There's so many, data science is so broad. There's so many ways, so many places in data science that you can build a career and add value. Again, remember that thing we talked about, like, first of all, you don't need to be good at coding, but also that thing about the tip that focus on your strengths, ignore your weaknesses. You're not good at coding, but what are you good at? Well, you love that as well. You wouldn't be very good at it. You wouldn't say it's the first thing that comes to mind that you're good at if you didn't love it. So how about you take that and you make it become the best at it? I don't know, maybe it's how you're really good at Excel. Become the best at Excel. Become like, like there's consultants. I was very inspired in my days at Deloitte who can use Excel just by typing without touching the mouse for like 5 hours in a row. Become that good at Excel. Do you think you won't find a job in data science? Of course you'll find a job in data science. There will be a company, and there are many companies who will just who will do anything to have passionate people in the right places. And even if there isn't a role like that, they'll create a role for you. So just be very good at what you are already good at and what you love. Sorry, LTS, interesting name. How to build LinkedIn as a data scientist. Look at some examples. We have some great guests on the podcast. They always share their LinkedIn. Find the guests and go and look at their LinkedIn and build a similar LinkedIn to that. Why reinvent the wheel? Abdoulaye Dialokan says, I'd be data scientist if I'm in regions where it's not very developed, if I have mathematics limited. Okay, so mathematics limited, I think we talked about. Regions where it's not very developed, you are on this webinar. So to me, that says you have internet. If you have internet, you don't need to care where you are. You don't need to care that it's underdeveloped. Like there are platforms like Upwork, upwork.com, where you can go create a profile. Again, that's building your brand. Do some projects for some, for some companies, maybe for free or very cheap. Build a brand and then just get jobs. Data scientists on Upwork get paid $50 an hour. Like 30 is kind of the minimum. 50 to $100 an hour. You don't have to be in the center of the US or in Australia or wherever to be a successful data scientist. As long as you have internet, you can do it from wherever you can. And you don't need coding skills. We talked about that. SVR Anil Kumar, can anyone suggest me on average how many data scientists are needed per company project? I can't really answer that question. It depends on the project, depends on the company. Sorry, that's a very, very broad question. If you maybe specify it, maybe we can look into it. Abdoulaye Diallo, can I find someone who can train me in data science? There's lots of courses. Super Data Science is there. Udemy is there. Coursera is there. There's lots of places where you can learn about data science. A very, very broad question as well. Cecil DaCosta, what was the name of the Tableau master guy he mentioned who managed his time quite well? It's Andy Kriebel. He's coming to Data Science Go. Where is it? So Andy. Oh wait, you can see my face. I'm trying to show you on my screen. Andy Kriebel. Look at datasciencego.com. His photos there. Okay, Avinash Yi. Anyone have idea how to prepare for IBM data science interview? Okay, I think that was a question to the people rather than to me. Reynaldo Lepsch. I'm 50 years old and have just been paid off. Just learning, laid off or paid off? Maybe paid off. Just learning the basics of ML and deep learning. Is it possible for me to find a new job on data science by now? Actually, when I was doing the slides, I wanted to include one that I'm too old or I'm too young to get into data science, but then I thought something else was more important. So you're never too old or too young to get into data science. You will, it's all about the value. It doesn't matter how old you are. It's about how much value you can bring. If you build a brand for yourself as, as a passionate person, passionate guy about, machine learning or deep learning, and you start, posting blogs and articles and LinkedIn. Like I think that within 6 months you can start getting interviews. You can start getting recruiters coming to you. Within 12 months, definitely, you can build that for yourself. So yeah, that's the answer to that question. I think it's all possible. It's all in your hands. Hi, Harikaran Maramrai. I found it hard to show experience in resume whenever I apply data science. Any tips? Oh, here's a good one. Something I didn't mention in the show. Oh, sorry, in the webinar. 70% of job positions are filled not through resume. How about that? 70% of those jobs that you see, actually 70% of positions are filled through not through resume application. So you don't even see most of the jobs that are available. And when people look for jobs, like just by sending their resumes around, that's like I think very inefficient, right? It's just like, it's necessary, it's worth doing, you can get something, definitely, but it's much more time cost effective to network, to find recruiters, to meet recruiters, to build a brand, to get them to meet you, to go to a conference, and so on and so on, to network. And you get the positions come to you through friends, through networks of networks, through connections, and that's how you get jobs. So I would suggest looking into that. That's my tip. Siddharth Verma, how is data science different from data analytics? Very broad question. Data analytics, in my view, is a broader field than data science. There are parts of data analytics that are not data science. For instance, that don't involve much data, basically. I will give you an example. For example, geospatial analytics, right? There is data involved, but it's more about kind of like finding the ultimate routes and delivery methods and so on. Or another one is simulations, dynamic simulations. So Artem Vladimirov on his podcast talks about that, and it's like one of the first few podcasts. And I think it's number 7. And yeah, dynamic simulations are not really data science; they're actually simulation, but they are analytics. But you can use the terms interchangeably sometimes, and it really depends on the terminology and what you're after. Matthews Ribeiro. Oh, okay, I think Matthews is your second question. How hard or easy is it to get a remote job in another country? For instance, my ideal job scenario is working for a company in Europe and earning in euros, even though I live in Brazil. That, I think we just talked about that. Look at Upwork.com and other freelance sites. I don't think it's that hard. Ashish Burugpalil, I'm not sure what I am passionate about in data science, so how should I start? Great question, on the money, Ashish. You gotta try. You gotta like, it's like you say you don't know what sports you like. You don't really like basketball, or you like tennis, you like team sports, you like individual sports, you like maybe martial arts, you like table tennis, you like swimming. You don't know, right? But you won't know until you try. Like, it's like there's this philosophical approach that you can talk as much as you want about, how amazing, like, let's say, a pineapple is. You can read about a pineapple, you can listen to people talk about a pineapple, you can even watch people eat a pineapple, but until you taste a pineapple, you will never know what it feels like, and you will never know whether you like it or not. So the answer to your question is try, like, look at some different things. Alan Araujo, super data science, is there a risk of data science being automated and data scientists will be jobless? Okay, interesting topics we're going into. By the way, guys, if you got to run, because this webinar has been over an hour and 15 minutes, thank you so much for coming. I really hope to see you at Data Science Go this year in November. It would be amazing to connect, network. We're really running this event for you guys. We want this to be a super success for the people that come. We're putting in a lot of effort into it. We're inviting the best speakers. We're like actually flying them from all over the world. I personally don't think that we've priced the tickets high or anything. It's just kind of like, nominal. Plus, if you get it in the next 2 hours, we will throw in those video recordings. So if you are able to make it, and even if you've been to a data science conference just recently, or you're about to go just before the event or after event, do come. This is going to really change your life. We're going to make sure that you walk away from there with your eyes burning bright, with fire in your eyes. So if you got to run, you definitely thank you so much for coming. And I really look forward to seeing you at Data Science Go. All right, I'm going to read a couple more questions because there's like a million here before we finish up. The risk of data science, automated data science being jobless. I don't think it's in the next 10 years. Data science is going to be one of the last fields that's going to get automated. Companies like DataRobot are trying to do that, but it's going to take a lot more than that. Super data. Hi, Kirill. This is Bakfam. How do we become a freelance data scientist? You just create a profile on Upwork and you bid for jobs that people post, and you know, and you build a brand for yourself so that you can include it in your description. I think that's the best way. Shishir. Okay. Martin, by the way, how are we going with how many people in the room? Can you please let me know on Slack, because I can't see that. Shishir Murthil, there a hierarchy of data scientist position in the industry, like from entry level? Yeah, there's always a hierarchy, but I think that's like, that's an interesting question. It depends on the company. Like sometimes there'll be just 1 or 2 data scientists, sometimes there'll be a hierarchy. I think you need to look into the company specifically. John Slage, do you know what parts of the US have good companies for data science, or certain businesses like financial or online companies? No, sorry, I don't know. You could check out that report. What's it called? The TechCrunch, QuantCrunch report. It says some information there, but I don't think it's about region. It's more about industry. Will there be a conference in the East Coast again? St. Sampson. Hey, finally something about the conference. Wazowski 38. Maybe we'll see how this one goes. If we would love to do one in the East Coast, but we'll see what the feedback is from this one, and you know how many people want to go on the East Coast. If I were you, I would come to this one just anyway, because it's gonna be our first one. It's gonna be amazing, but we might run something on the East Coast. No promises yet. We'll see how this one goes. Will the DSGO video or audio be available for purchase after the conference? It will be available for purchase. You will be able to purchase it. So if you can't make the conference, we'll be making it available for purchase. If you can make it to the conference, then now is the time to sign up, because you will get the video and audio for free as part of today's offer, which is ending in 2 hours and 43 minutes. Josh Lawani, I'm trying to figure out whether I should specialize or not. I'm planning on learning SQL versus visualization, ML, deep learning, big data, etc. Is it better to beginner to pick 1 or 2 topics to focus on? Yeah, I think it's better to pick 1 or 2 topics to focus on, rather than like being jack of all trades. Be very good at some, you know the others a little bit. Be ready to adapt, because the industry is changing very rapidly. But it's better to focus on things you love, right? You can't love everything. You can't be passionate about everything. There's definitely going to be something you're more passionate about than what you're less. Find that thing and focus on that. Yeah, awesome facts. Awesome facts. Many conferences take place in the USA. Could you have a conference in the future in Mexico or Latin America? Maybe we will one day. Michael Netter, how do we display to explorers that we are qualified as data scientists without experience? 1 second. Okay, let me see. Sorry. Sorry. How do we display to explorers that we are qualified as data scientists without experience? Again, that's the thing. Build a brand. If you have an online presence, if you have all these articles that you've written, 10. If you have all these videos that you've published, 30. If you have all these Tableau, what are they called, public visualizations that you've uploaded, 15. If you have, I don't know, like all these questions you've answered on Quora or Stack Overflow, 100. If you have all of that, and maybe even have a personal website, just as yourname.com or yournamedata.com, whatever, and which is act as your resume, just 1 page. If you have all of that, you just send them the link. That's all. and they will know that they're hungry. That's the thing. This is not a buyer's market. This is a seller's market. This is a market where supply is below demand. There's more demand than supply. And what happens then is it's a seller's market, meaning that they are hungry for talent. They want you. They need you. They're looking for you. They can't find you. That's the problem. They can't find you. You might be super passionate about something, but what's the point of being passionate and good at it if they can't find you? If nobody knows about your passion, you might be the best soccer player in the world, but you're sitting at home and playing in your backyard. You're never going to be bought by. You're never going to be paid or hired by Real Madrid or whatever they are, like the other companies like Chelsea and so on. Like you will never be paid by like a big football club because nobody knows about you. So that's the thing. Like if you're here, that means you are committed and willpowered enough to do something about your life, to do something about your career. That means you have the passion. You already have the drive. Now just show it. Just like put yourself out there. It will take work. It's never easy. It will take a couple months to build that brand. But if you put in the hours, it will pay off. And they're looking. They want. There's lots of people who say they're data scientists because it's hypey and it's well paid, and they want to be, they want to be like in cushy jobs and stuff like that. But the recruiters just need to be on their side for a second, step in their shoes. They need to sift through all of these people who are, pseudo data scientists, or wannabe data scientists, or who are not passionate, but who are just like, who have heard about this field and who just want to be there just because they're gonna get paid well. They have to sift for that and find those gems, find those really passionate people. Make it easier for them. Put a beam on top of your head, kind of like a beacon. Put a beacon out for them so that they can see you, that they can find. As soon as you put that beacon out, as soon as you put that website up, that blog up, you put that YouTube videos up, you build whatever Tableau public profile, you build all those things we talked about. You network. As soon as you have that beacon up, they will flock. They will go like moths to a flame. No, that's not the right term. They'll go like whatever is attracted to whatever. They'll just flock to you, and then you will have all these opportunities. You won't have to look for jobs. Jobs will be looking for you. You'll have to start saying no to opportunities because that's how many you will get. That's what you want. You don't want to be like, how do I find a job? Is not the right question. It's a weak question. The strong question is, how do I be in such a way that the job finds me, that the jobs find me? That's the question you should be asking. Okay. So in regards to the conference, is 129 enthusiasts the fee for all 3-day conference? That is correct. What is the difference between supporter and full price option? Okay, just to be clear, there is no difference. Where is it? Well, you guys can't see my screen. Let me share my screen just to answer this question. Okay, so I'm gonna show you this again. Okay, so these price options, early birds, enthusiast, supporter, full price, they just differ in price. There is no difference in what you get. You get exactly, every time you get 3 days, whether you pay early birds, this or this, just the price goes up, that's all. The only difference is today. If you buy today, if you sign up today, there's 2 hours and 35 minutes left. If you sign up in these 2 hours and 35 minutes at this price, which is the current price, which is going up soon, if you sign up, you pay this price, plus you will get the videos free for free. You won't have to pay for the videos separately. That's the offer here. And so that's what this is all about. And I can see your question, Arjun, is like, is it 129 just for enthusiasts? And you got the double question marks. It might sound like very low, right? Some conferences on data science for 3 days they charge $1,000, 500 to 1,000. And the reason why we're doing it is because we want to bring value. It's not for us, not about making money. It's about bringing value to you guys. We're actually running this conference at a loss. We're investing more money into this conference than we're getting back because we want, and that means that you will get value 10 or 20 or 100 or 30, 300x of what you invest, because that is what it's about. Like for me right now, it's just I just want I want this experience. I want to see you guys in person. I want to talk to you guys. I want, you know, I love courses, but I also love seeing people in person. This road trip that we did with Adlan was fantastic. Like, we met so many people in person. Now I want to meet. I'd love to do a conference, and so that's why we do it. Nivedita E. I am really interested in neuroscience. I am epileptic myself. I would like to work in ML and help out people like me. Please guide me through. I will follow you in Udemy. Well, that's very admirable. Thank you for sharing. That is such a great cause, you know, to use data science to make the world a better place. And of course, we will guide you. Of course, we will. We'll be routing for you. We want you to be successful, so you can indeed help other people. Just keep going. This is wonderful. Very, very inspiring aspirations, and I'm sure you're going to be successful in that. Mayank Yainil, I am undergoing ML and deep learning courses on Udemy. How to find interesting projects to implement my learnings. Kaggle. Then on superdatascience.com we have monthly case studies. You can, like, first month is only $1. You can check them out. If you like them, you can stay. If you don't, you don't. It's like a monthly thing. We've got monthly case studies. Then Kaggle. Then you know, just you can find data sets. You can just like look at blogs. There's also so many blogs on deep learning on what people have achieved, and you just follow them and do the same stuff. Okay, let's have a look. In regards to that one we've answered. Matthews Riberari, are there any plans to make conferences overseas, like in a certain country that was recently host to an Olympics and World Cup? Okay, not right now, but is that Brazil? I'm a bit behind on the world news. Is that Brazil you're talking about? I think so. Hopefully one day, maybe, but not this year. We're only having one conference this year, and not next year. We're gonna have, hopefully we'll have another one next year. Maybe we'll have two. Depends on how this one goes. So, you know, this might be the last one. This might be the only one that we ever have, and you might have this opportunity to be at the Super Data Science Conference, the one and only. And, you know, always remember that you're one of those 200 people that were there. You never know. Bharat Shri Nevas. Hi, Kirill. Thanks for everything you do. Thank you. Any reasons why you choose San Diego for the conference and not Silicon Valley? There's a couple of reasons. Interesting. It's sunny in San Diego. It's there's I don't know, like the hotel came up. It's a good hotel, Sheraton Mission Valley Hotel, and like the person we're working with who's helping us with the what's it called? The planning, the event. No, we have an event planner and we have an event manager. So the event planner, she's done a lot of work in San Diego, so she has contacts, you know, networking again, so she can help us with things. It was just easier in terms of the amount of paperwork we had to go through and so on. So like we're going through a lot of hurdles to put this up together in the first place. And it was just more risky of putting it in San Francisco at this stage. And so, yeah, we decided San Diego. It's not that far. It's like, you know, it's an hour, 2 hours by plane, or, you know, like a day by train. I love the train, by the way. I've been on that train between San Francisco and LA or Santa Barbara. I've been on the train a couple of times. It's very nice. It's like only 8 hours between San Francisco and Santa Barbara, and maybe like 12 or 14 between up to LA. And before you know it, in San Diego. So that's not an excuse not to come. If you're in San Francisco, you can come. It's like we got a person coming from Prague. It's like a 24-hour flight, just flying to get there. Like, come on, you can make it. Also, do you think you and create another category of tickets where you live stream the entire conference and you have virtual audience? Ooh, good question. We can't promise that. We're working on that. Maybe something will be there, maybe not. I'm not sure. Like, there'll definitely be live streaming of some sessions. We really want to share like a few sessions with you, like maybe one or two. But obviously we have to like there's like a lot of technical things, but also we can't just live stream everything, because then people who come to the conference, they get a lot of value by coming to a conference, and plus they get the networking. So it's a bit of it's in the air. Okay, so we'll see what we can do. Maybe there will be live streaming, maybe not, but not at this stage. But in any case, if you can come versus attending a live stream, coming is always going to be that much better, because not only will you get all of the sessions, which are not going to be available in the live stream, but also you're going to get the networking opportunities. You're going to get to meet the people. You're going to get to be there, present there. You're going to be able to like see other people get inspired yourself, and talk to people. That's the beauty of it. But yeah, so we will see how that goes. All right, where did I stop? I think we're nearly through. Videos on Kaggle competitions. We might that's a good idea. How to get a first job in machine learning. I have 9 years of experience in data warehousing. Yeah, like I would start with building a brand, checking on Upwork, doing some projects for free for some people. That's always a good way to get started. Then something might come up. Edwin Garcia might not make it in San Diego this year, but interested next year. Are you planning around the same month next year? Possible US location? No plans yet. We'll see how this one goes, and then we'll let you know. But it's a shame you won't be able to make it, Edwin. But it's okay. Like things happen, of course. I'm not sure about Manish Burungali. I'm not sure about how passionate I am about data science. So how should I decide what to start learning and how to start? I think we talked about this a little bit. Try a few things. Try a few different things. There's a lot of different areas: data visualization, data mining, programming. I don't know, like machine learning, deep learning. Try a couple of things. See what you like. Try different languages, programming language. Matheus Ribeiro, an article published recently said Brazilian companies are way behind in the adoption of data science and machine learning professionals. What would you tell to the CEOs of these companies? Ooh, Matheus, good question. We actually did some people on our team did some research, same thing about Colombia, and it looks like the whole of Latin America is a little bit behind in this sense. What I would say to these CEOs of these companies is that it's a good thing. It's a great thing. Like if you are going to be the first to adopt it, you're going to be like way ahead of the competition. It's like, I don't know, it's like everybody is still putting cars together manually, and you're going to be the first company to come in with a conveyor belt, or like everybody is still using fire, and you're going to be the first company with electricity. Like it's the best place to be. If I was in Brazil and I had a company, I would be all over this data science thing. I wouldn't even tell anybody. I would be just applying it and being super competitive, cutting my costs, increasing my profit, increasing my efficiency. It's like a candy store. That's the best. I think they should get on top of it. That's what I would say. Okay, so let's see. How is Zakari Sakov? How is data science being applied to social problems and directly improving the quality of human life? Are there opportunities to apply these skills to global challenges such as poverty and alleviation? Interesting question. So I think that data science, we are underestimating data science. When we say data science, what we see, what we think is a bit different to what really is. Data science, in a lot of data scientists' perspective, is that number crunching, is the reports, is the analytics, is the driving value, finding insights in the data. But data science, if you think about it, actually drives a lot of the technology. A lot of the technological breakthroughs that you hear about is actually driven by data science. Technology cannot exist without data science. Data science cannot exist without technology, but it's the other way around as well. They come hand in hand. And so I was talking about your poverty question. or how is data science helping the world? Well, they're introducing filters, for instance, all over China that are helping reduce the amount of toxins or amount of pollution going out into there. That's driven by data science. What about the solar panels? You don't think they're driven by data science? Or Tesla cars, you don't think they have data science inside? Of course they have data science, which is driving the technology, which is literally driving the car, and it's reducing the waste reducing the pollution that the cars are creating for that. We have data science in agriculture. Data science is used to better spread those pesticides only on the plants that actually need them instead of spraying them all over the place. And that increases the amount, that decreases the amount of pesticides that are used by 90%. That's also data science. In terms of poverty, in terms of helping the world, there's a company that started cleaning water through, you can just clean water anywhere in the world just by applying this kind of like special filter. And that's also driven by data science. There's lots of projects, like if you want to speak about just data science projects, specifically data science, not technologically related, there's a lot of projects, there's a lot of companies like Kaggle that are non-for-profit, that are data science driven, like data science competitions, but not for profit, and to help communities around the world solve their problems. There's lots of meetups, like I've heard of lots of meetups where people get together and just do like data science just to help other companies. So there's lots of this going on around the world. You just need to look out for it. Like, yeah, I think we can wrap up on this. Thanks again, everybody, for coming. We've got, let me just quickly check over here. We've got 2 hours, 22 minutes for this special offer for Data Science Go. Would love to see you there. And I really appreciate you spending your time here today. It's been an hour and 36 minutes. I hope the insights were useful. Hope you got some inspiration about your career, and you could see that it is totally possible, that you can build a brand for yourself and you can do the things that you love and be successful. This is one of the best careers to be in. I wish you all the best success. Again, if you can make it to Data Science Go, then definitely do, because we're going to have lots of speakers sharing their success stories, and lots of speakers inspiring you how you can become successful. And of course, you'll be able to network with everybody. It's going to be really fun, exciting event. We're putting a lot of effort into it. And yeah, I really look forward to seeing you there. And until next time, happy analyzing.